Hello, friends. This is Sam Cheney reporting for Weaponized News. Today, July 4th, 2025. Happy Independence Day. Will this be our last Independence Day in America? In America here. I don't know. What are we really celebrating? Did we actually win our independence from Britain? I think there's a great case that we didn't, and they're still in control. At least their intelligence agencies, that's what's controlling everything these days. What do we have today in the news? Trump signed the one big beautiful bill as promised, putting us ranging different estimates out there, $3 to $5 trillion in debt and the deficit. Who cares? Just throw the debt limit out. Who cares? You know what I mean? Who cares? America. So what else do we got? A tragic event. There's flooding going on there in Texas. Some girls at the summer camp are missing. Tragic event there to report on. I'm going to read the Declaration of Independence, the reason for the season here now. We'll go over it and see if we're standing up to the ideals of our founding fathers. I'll make the argument we're falling well short here now, aren't we? Well, you make the decision as we go through that. What other news? Kind of light in the news today. You know what I mean? I don't know. Joey Chestnut, hot dog eating champion. Of course, America's gluttony there, showing off at the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Joey Chestnut reclaims his title as hot dog eating champion. We had some celebrity deaths to go over. Seems they did happen in 3. Zuckerberg, our bros, doing his surfboard thing, dressed up like American Eagle Patriot, and so that's all wonderful. We can forgive him for all the for deleting my account and severing all my network. I took many years to build on his platform there, Facebook, and so we forgive him because he's a bro, right? We got that video. It's just we revel in idiocy. It appears here in America. In America. Oh, White House is quietly launching AI.gov today, allegedly. You go to the site, it hasn't launched yet, so not too efficient, their government, but what else would we expect? We got that report to go over. AI.gov, as we told you, and others have, that, yeah, we're going into scientific dictatorship, technocracy. Wave your flag, all about it. The Terminator don't care what flag you wave. What else do we got? A little Russia, Ukraine. There was a big attack on Ukraine by Russia. Doesn't look like that war is slowing down anytime soon. Horrific indeed there. And then, of course, the genocide in Gaza continues. It's mainstream, man. Reuters. West Bank town becomes a big prison as Aardvark fences it in. Aardvark land fences it in. You know what I'm saying? The whole thing's a prison, but they're making smaller prison compounds, and then they're studying that. And for God's sake, understand it's all going to come here, man. So you could say F Palestine, F the Palestinians, F all Muslims, F all Arabs. I freaking hate their guts. But none of that even matters. You understand? Because they're using this as a laboratory to test their tyranny out. You understand this? I think our audience does. Tell your friends, family, neighbors, and acquaintances. It don't matter if you hate the Muslims with all of your heart. There's Christians over there too. The Christians in this country, they don't give a damn. But just say Arabs, right? In general, I hate the freaking Arabs. I hate the Muslims. And you're happy that they're putting them in these concentration camps there. It's coming here for you. It's coming here for all of us, man. And so that's the point I'm trying to get across in this reporting. And it's also horrific. I mean, you got to be an evil son of a bitch to say, yeah, I just kill them all. You know what I mean? Take their land, kill them all, F them, because, yeah, go aardvarks. Like, what the? But that's the mindset, sadly, of these Christian Zionists in America and others, and other Zionists. You don't even have to be a Christian, but that is the mindset. Feels like it's changing amongst the youth, but it's horrific what's going on there, and we're just supposed to look the other way. Oh, they're the good guys, our greatest ally, and all this propaganda BS. Look at what they're doing, man. And it's coming for you next, is why you should care. All right, let's get to this day in history. I'm going to try to make this try to do it in an hour show here so I can get back to the family celebration. Public service announcement. Well, be careful with your pets tonight. Of course, your cats, dogs, other pets, as they are frightened by these fireworks. If you live in a redneck neighborhood like I do, they're going to be shooting off fireworks till friggin' 2, 3, 4 in the morning. Who knows? You know what I mean? It's going all night long party. So take care of your pets out there. Watch out for them. They're spooked by this stuff. Take care of your war veterans. Many combat veterans find this display of fireworks and explosions going off triggering, shell shock, PTSD, whatever you want to call it, flashbacks to the war, and it's not good for them either. So take care of your war veterans out there. Look after them. Make sure they're doing okay, and your pets on this day of celebration of, I'm going to call it fake independence from the UK. Before, let's go through this day in history, and then we'll get to this book. I'll just read a little excerpt out of it. This is why I'm saying these things. You can see The Anglo-American Establishment by Carol Quigley, and you notice the British flag and then American flag upside down, like we're a nation in distress or something, that this Georgetown professor Carol Quigley was trying to tell us about. He's official historian. It doesn't get more official, even though it's not talked about much. And of course, the tome, Tragedy and Hope, True History of the World in Our Time. But this one was appropriate for today. We'll get back to that. On this day in history of July 4th, in the year 1636, the city of Providence, Rhode Island was founded. In 1754, George Washington gives Fort Necessity to France. We covered that. He surrendered that fort in 1754. And then, of course, 1776. On July 4, 1776, according to popular legend, the Liberty Bell rings for the second time for the Second Continental Congress on this day. And then, of course, the Declaration of Independence in 1776, U.S. Congress proclaims the Declaration of Independence and independence from Great Britain, allegedly, at that time. How long did it last? I don't think very long at all. We're going to get to that. In 1789, the first U.S. Tariff Act was signed into law by George Washington. In 1803, the Louisiana Purchase is announced to the American people by then President Thomas Jefferson. In 1826, Thomas Jefferson and John Adams die on the same day. That's a strange coincidence. 1826, past presidents Thomas Jefferson and John Adams both die on the 50th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. President John Quincy Adams calls visible and palatable remarks of divine favor. Was it? Or was it secret societies doing some type of occultic ritual? We have to ask these damn questions. I know it's uncomfortable. We like to, swim in our patriot lore of the red, white, and blue. But all these guys are tied up in secret societies and the like. So That question needs to be asked, and it's not asked. It's not asked because we're bathed in patriotic propaganda. In 1827, slavery was abolished in New York. There's some independence for you. And they made us all slaves. In 1863, Boise, Idaho, the city of Boise in Idaho was founded. In 1865, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll is published. In 1942, U.S. air offensive against Nazi Germany begins, bombing the hell out of Germany. In 1946, the Philippines gains independence from the United States on this day. And then we had a few civil liberties on this day in history to announce. I found this one interesting. In 1951, Cold War reign of fear. Madison, Wisconsin residents afraid to sign petition with excerpts from the Declaration of Independence and Bill of Rights. The Cold War reign of fear gripped even the residents of the heavily liberal city of Madison, Wisconsin. As a test on this day, the 4th of July, a reporter asked 122 Madison residents if they would sign a petition that included excerpts from the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights, but did not identify the source. Only one person was willing to sign the petition. President Harry Truman mentioned the incident in a speech in Detroit on July 29th later that month, lamenting the fact that so many Americans were afraid of associating themselves with basic statements of American freedom. Well, thank you, government, for putting the fear of God into people with your tyranny.
Do you have my credit card?
Yeah,
I have it real quick.
I'm on here.
Where is it?
Excuse me. Okay. And then moving forward to 1966, Lyndon Baines Johnson signs the Historic Freedom of Information Act, FOIA. And those are famous. People do the FOIA request. You get the government documents. Many times it's blacked out, right, for national security and other fake made-up reasons in the name of transparency to the American people. But LBJ on this day signed the Historic Freedom of Information Act at his Texas ranch. Johnson had opposed the bill, but signed it nonetheless. Contrary to a prevalent myth, he did not try to hide his signing of the bill. He issued a signing statement, and the signing was reported by the failing New York Times. So we do appreciate that, even though many FOIA requests of government documents and information is heavily redacted. He gives us something to work with, official documents out there. And with that, what else did we have? I think there was one more. In 2022, we saw a lone shooter at a 4th of July parade in Highland Park, Chicago, killed 7 and wounded 47. And so that's a reminder to be careful out there in your public events. Many are going on already or have already gone on: parades, rallies, fireworks shows, and the like. As far as we went live here 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I didn't see any attacks out there of any importance being reported. So let's just check again in the headlines quickly. I don't see any attacks. So that's good news, because they're floating the idea Iranian sleeper cells are going to attack or could attack. And again, it doesn't matter if it's real, organic, staged, false flag, provocateured by the government. It doesn't matter, because they will use that attack to start another war, take away our freedom. But nothing has happened. So thankfully, it seems like a peaceful July 4th so far here now. All right, let's do a segue. Here's the aforementioned celebrity that died The man behind one of TV's most iconic sounds is gone. The X-Files theme composer Mark Snow dies at 78. Bless his soul. And then this other, we'll play that theme song. And then this other actor here from Fantastic Four to Nip Tuck. This guy was in Julian McMahon. He passed away at age 56, very early there, and it has experts baffled. He appeared to be in good shape, and we don't know what happened. It's a miracle he lived this long, let's just say. But seriously, rest their souls. It looks like 3, right? The celebrities died in 3 here now, because we had that. We had the Reservoir Guys dog die yesterday. Guy, what the heck's his name now? I can't even remember his name. Anyway, you guys know who I'm talking about. So rest their souls in peace there. Here is the intro to the X-Files. I want to believe, but I just have a hard time with all the never-ending lies and propaganda coming out of our government. And that is the intro theme music for X-Files, of course. And again, Mark Snow, dead at 78 today. Okay, here's the book aforementioned before we get to going over the Declaration of Independence, the Anglo-American Establishment, Carol Quigley. And we just go to the preface here. It's a great book. Everybody should get it and go through it. This is your documented conspiracy. It's like 300 something pages, not that thick compared to Tragedy and Hope, which is a hell of a hard book to read. But the preface, let me just read you the first couple sentences here of this book. The Rhodes Scholarship established by the terms of Cecil Rhodes' 7th will are known to everyone. What is not widely known is that Rhodes in 5 previous wills left his fortune to form a secret society, which was to devote itself to the preservation and expansion of the British Empire. And what does not seem to be known to anyone is that this secret society was created by Rhodes and his principal trustee, Lord Milner, and continues to exist to this day. And then on the back, a quote from Carol Quigley, the author, again, esteemed historian and professor at Georgetown University. He goes on to say, no country that values its safety should allow what the Milner Group accomplished, that is, that a small number of men would be able to wield such power in administration and politics, should be given almost complete control over the publication of documents relating to their actions, should be able to exercise such influence over the avenues of information that create public opinion, and should be able to monopolize so completely the writing and teaching of the history of their own period. So, yeah, it's pretty much telling you that what they told you is total bullshit to cover up all the bullshit that they've been up to here at these secret societies holding on to the British Empire's power. Table of contents, and then we'll move on. The Cecil Block, the Secret Society of Cecil Rhodes, Milner's Kindergarten, 1897 to 1910. The Milner Group, Rhodes and Oxford, 1901 to 1925. The Times, The Round Table, War and Peace, 1915 to 1920. The Creation of the Commonwealth, the Royal Institute of International Affairs, India, 1911 to 1945. Foreign Policy from 1919 to 1940, and the Second World War, 1939 to 1945. That's the table of contents of this book. Everybody should get a copy and check it out. All right. So it looks like these guys are still in control, along with other groups here, of the quote Anglo-American establishment, i.e. America. Okay, let's get to the text of the Declaration of Independence. And so this is from harvard.edu, and they talk here about there are different versions out there, but we're going to go with this one with different punctuations, capitalizations, and even different wording. And so, but we're going to go with this one today. And let's ask ourselves again, are we living up to these ideals of the Declaration of Independence? I'm arguing on the show today, we're not, as Americans, as being handed down, the freedom machine known as America. We're under a hell of a lot of tyranny today. When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly, all experience hath swoon that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves of abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, invents a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient suffrage of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former system of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having indirect object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance unless suspended in their operation till the assent should be obtained, and when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at palaces unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their land records for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. He has dissolved a representative house repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his envisions of rights of the people. He has refused for a long time after such disillusions to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative power, incapable of annihilation, have returned to the people at large for their exercise, the state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convolutions within, he has endeavored to prevent the population of the states for the purpose obstructing the laws of naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriations of land. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount of payment of their salaries. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislatures. He has affected to render the military independent of the superior of the civil power. He has combined with others to subject us to jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts to pretended legislation, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by the mock trial, for punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of the states, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses, for abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it as once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our government, for suspending our own legislatures and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us all cases whatsoever. He has abducted government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He is, at this time, transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny already begun, with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy scarcely paralleled to the most barbarous ages, and totally unworthy the head of a civilized nation. He has constrained our fellow citizens, taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, to become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrections amongst us, and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of welfare is undistinguished destruction of ages, sex, and conditions. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people, nor have we been wanting in attention to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarranted jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our ingration and settlements here. We have appealed to their native justice and I can't pronounce that word, magnanimity, and we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations, which would inevitably interrupt our connection and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and of consanguinity. We must therefore inevitably interpret our connection, or inevitably interpret, I lost my place there, sorry about that, which would inevitably interpret our connection and correspondence to, they too have been deaf, we must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation, and hold them as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace friends. We therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress assembled, applying to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, due in the name and by authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved from the allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with the firm reliance and on protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Signed by order and in behalf of Congress, John Hancock, President of the Congress. Okay. Thank you for sticking with me through that. Sorry I butchered a few of those words. They were a hell of a lot smarter than me in their writing, I'll tell you that. Okay, what do we got? Well, are we living up to these ideals? I would say we're under extreme tyranny here now. The taxation, the surveillance, the never-ending spying, violation of our rights, try to get a fair jury trial. They're violating the Bill of Rights against us, our own American government, up one side and down the other here now. So isn't it our duty? Isn't it our duty? But see, the order followers of said tyrannical government are the ones that are going to come stop you for fulfilling your duty set forth here by our founding fathers in the Declaration of Independence. Order followers of said tyrannical government. The other ones with the guns, the bombs, and will follow the orders of tyrants to come take care of you if you say, I want to go ahead and fulfill the Declaration of Independence here once again and form a new government, because this one has been gotten out of control and tyrannical, as is the nature of government. All right, on to the good news. Joey Chestnut. That's a big switch. That's the news for today. Wiener King Joey Chestnut reclaims title of Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Championship. Here's the video of it. And some protesters, I couldn't even see the sign, but protesters interrupted it. I don't even know what the protest was about, but here is the gluttony of Joey Chestnut celebrated on this July 4th. Go America.
Yeah. We're not going to get to the record, but 70 would be a remarkable feat. To achieve 70 again.
Watch him here in the last seconds. Joey's going to get it in. Boom.
7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put down your hot dogs.
Such meat eating, too. The etiquette is just exemplary. Something to aspire to.
And he's fairly neat.
Oh, my glory.
Here's some of those.
Ladies and gentlemen, that
Just
was an emotional
incredible.
journey. I am
Incredible
emotionally
performance.
exhausted. Oh.
There you go. We got some comments over here. Shout out to Snarky Guy, Gunther, a few others. Snarky says that he never thought of Weaponized News chat as a place to pick up women's. Well, this is where the crazy women's come. So if you're crazy like them, maybe you can find some like-minded women's. Yeah, the readability is not good, Snarky Guy says. And he said, why did it take 13 years from the signing of his document to elect a president? It's a good one. Oh, and the Articles of Confederation first. Yeah, okay. We left that part out because it's July 4th. So congratulations to Joey Chestnut there, hot dog eating champion. I don't know what the protest was, but protesters ran up there with signs or something. Anyway, tragic story here now. Unconfirmed number of fatalities in Texas flooding amid catastrophic rainfall. Water resources ongoing. Water rescues ongoing. And so what do they? This is out of Kern County in Texas. Flooding turned deadly this morning, about 75 miles west of Austin, Texas, in Kern County there. Some reports up to 10 inches of rain have fallen in just a few hours. Multiple flash flood emergencies. The tragic part is there's these kids at the summer camp that are apparently lost. Unconfirmed number of fatalities. Here's we got video. We have some video of the flooding here. 13 killed and 23 girls missing from summer camp. Quite horrific. Here's some video of the flooding there. And so they're like, yeah, they used to be dry. And then we had a flash flood. Here's some more video of it. A car hung up here on the freeway guardrails. It looks like the highway guardrails. Kernville, Texas. So tragic indeed, as those girls reported missing from summer camp. Let's hope they can find them. That's a sad, tragic report for this 4th of July. Okay, on to our tech bro, Zuckerberg, at the Facebook Meta, trying to win his way back into our good graces. Here is his celebration of 4th of July video. So since he has done that, we can forgive him for social engineering, mind controlling the public, selling our data to the highest bidder, rigging elections in this country. The list of usurpations by big tech bros goes on and on and on. But hell, he dressed up and surfed on the back of a jet ski or the back of a water skis, like dressed up like the American Eagle. So all's forgiven. He's a bro now. He doesn't censor you on he doesn't outright ban you on the Facebook anymore. You're just shadow banned into oblivion. You still have an account. So, I mean, all's forgiven there, right? It's the clown world that we're in. And speaking of clown world, here's President Trump talking about yesterday. This is at a rally there yesterday for America 250. We're still a year away from the 250. We're at 249 anniversary right now. But he had a big rally. I want to say Iowa. I think it was in Iowa. Anyway, he had a rally, a big celebration after your legislature, the House of Representatives, signed the one big beautiful debt bill and Patriot Act 2.0. But here is Trump. We're literally in idiocracy here now. President Camacho, remember? President Trump announces that there's going to be a UFC fight on the lawn of the White House for America's 250th birthday. That'll be next year. Here's a clip of it. We're literally in idiocracy.
I even think we're going to have a UFC fight. Does anybody watch UFC, the Great Dana White? We're going to have a UFC fight. We're going to have a UFC fight. Think of this, on the grounds of the White House. We have a lot of land there. We're going to build a little, we're not, Dana's going to do it. Dana's great, one of a kind. We're going to have a UFC fight, championship fight, full fight, like 20, 25,000 people. And we're going to do that as part of 250 also. We're going to have some incredible, I even think we're going to have a...
It's going to be awesome. And then Palantir will be there profiling everybody and, facial recognition, whatever, with the cameras and microphones up your rear end. It's going to be freaking awesome, man. And MAGA just eats it up. Remember America 250, the sponsors, Palantir, Lockheed Martin. You know what I mean? It's like in your face, corporate government, but America, UFC, guys getting punched in the face. They're going to be pumping this for a year. And, oh yeah, here's the sponsors. Let's take a look again. Look at this. He cares about the little guy, don't you know? Here's the sponsors of America 250. Oh, who's that? Palantir, Oracle. And spray some Roundup on your lettuce there from Scott's Miracle Grow. And of course, UFC, the gladiator fights. bread and circuses for the slaves as they enslave us. We literally cheered on. And so I don't know what else of course, you got to throw in your bankers, Goldman Sachs, and then throw in some bombers, Lockheed Martin, Walmart, of course. And so here are your corporate sponsors of America. 250. So what do you even say to this? Palantir and friggin' Lockheed Martin and Goldman Sachs. Go America. Just beyond the pale. Okay, here is leading up to the big signing of the one big beautiful bill here now.
We've delivered no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. And that's why when you hear things like that, this is the most it's the biggest bill of its kind ever done by far. But it's we are going to have a situation, we are going to have something where people are going to realize the level of success and popularity of this bill. And sort of to close it out, it makes the child tax credit permanent for 40 million American families. And to increase the car affordability, it makes interest on a new car payment. So this had never happened before. You buy a car, you borrow money, you're allowed to deduct for income tax purposes your payment of interest. You're allowed to deduct it. It's never happened before. So run out and buy a car. But I have to tell you, it's only good, Mike, if it's made in America. If it's made in another country, you don't get it.
Well, see, isn't that wonderful? Big spending bill there. It's really awesome. It's helping us out. Taxation theft. You should end all of taxation. What do we got some comments here. Rucka says, I thought eagles were endangered. I know. Zuckerberg's abusing eagles here in America, and we're supposed to cheer it on. It's quite horrific. Democracy dies in darkness, Snarky says. Yeah. That's the old Washington Compost slogan, isn't it? And they lie to you about anonymous sources. Okay, here's the actual signing of the bill, the one big beautiful bill. All these criminals in the government love how much money they're going to steal from you and funnel into the military industrial complex and the technocracy. Isn't it all just going to be so wonderful? But hell, like you just said, you get to save on the interest payments on a new car that you buy that's going to spy on you and report back to Technocracy about all of your whereabouts and so on and so forth. And you get too much questioning the government, they'll just hit the kill switch, or maybe they'll run you right into a tree like that one reporter. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but remember that reporter? He was getting a little bit too close to national security scandals and whatnot. And down in LA, it was like 5-6 years ago now. And they just ran his freaking car. He had a new Mercedes, right? And of course, they said he wrecked it into a palm tree, but like the engine, remember, like was ejected like 100 feet or something like this down the road. And so it couldn't have happened that way. But anyway, they can't remotely drive your car right into a tree, off a cliff, whatever, or just shut it down, whatever. But hell, you get a tax break on it. So I guess it's all worth it. Hastings, that was his name. It just came to me. Michael Hastings was a national security reporter reporting on the crimes of the government and mysteriously wrecked his car in Southern California into a palm tree and died in a fiery ball. Remember that? Yay, we just stole a couple hundred more trillion from you. And yeah, there's a debt out there? Nah, who cares? Who cares? So I know the Democrats, you got to feel for them. They're still Americans, most of them, maybe. I don't know. They have like this weird, communist socialist ideology that don't work either. But neither does the freaking Constitution for that matter. So back to the Declaration of Independence, we need to form a new government because the one we got on both sides, right and left, is not working. It's not working here now. And the myth of the Constitution is it's not working, you see, because the government doesn't give a shit about the Constitution or any of your rights. As we saw, we just lived through the last 5 years of medical intervention period, and fully illustrated for everyone, but most want to keep the blinders on. I don't know how you could, but that's where we're at here in America. But for your liberal friends out there, they're staging an anti-Trump protest. They're staging a die-in outside Trump Tower. Let's watch a little bit of this. I feel bad for these people. They feel badly misled here, but I do like the fact they're protesting Trump, but not directly. They're at Trump Tower, actually impeding his business. Let's take a look at this die-in protest, because they're still caught up on the idea, oh my God, they took away our health care benefits or whatever, Medicaid, Medicare. You don't want any freaking part of this Rockefeller medicine system. And you would think they would have learned the lesson, but these people, they just are insufferable and love anything free. I get free, like Bernie, right? Bernie Sanders, free. Oh, anything free. It just because the government gives it to you free, it ain't good, man. That should be like a #1 red flag. But and especially after the last 5 years, but these people just can't seem to learn.
I'm a doctor of so many dead and dying people. I'll take care of you for free, but I want to take care of you for free because of my own care. But the hospital is closed. The drugs are too expensive. The clinic is closed. The dialysis unit is closed. The hospital closed. The ambulance can't pay for gas.
So there they are with the die-in again. If at all possible, you need to stay as far away as you can from this Rockefeller medicine system that they have us under. What do they say? Died of cancer because they cut the funding for NIH. It's idiocy. It's idiocy. Sadly, these people love the government and they haven't learned anything. The thumbnail for our show, via our friend at the Duke Report, Peter Duke. He's selling these t-shirts, by the way, but I stole this from him. We need more rope. Instead of the classic, don't tread on me, rattlesnake, we need more rope. And so that is the thumbnail for the show via the Duke Report. And he's selling t-shirts with that on there. So I would give him a plug there, because I did steal that from him, because I liked it very much. We do need more rope. Okay. The one big beautiful bill. Let's get a little occult going on here. BBB. This poster, I don't even know how to pronounce the guy's name, so I'm not even going to say it. His handle is at Latoshi. Anyway, I came across this, and I wanted to tell you guys about it. So take a look at this. BBB is being signed tomorrow, 7-4. Big beautiful bill is the same spell as Build Back Better, 222. And then he gets into breaking all this stuff down. When old Biden, whoever the hell it was, did the Build Back Better on February 22nd. or I'm sorry, February 4th, 2022, 222 weeks and 222 days is 1,776 days in our fractal existence. And then you do that conversion, and you see it was yesterday when it was passed on 7/3/2025. And so if you're into all that, they are, the occultists are, you better believe that. And so they are following everything on a very strict timeline about how to make their spells, their mind control program, social engineering take effect on you and me, society as a whole here now. And you better believe that the social engineers know what they're doing. That's why they're in control here now. And so I found that to be an interesting post about the esoteric occult nature of all this. And you better believe that Trump is an occultist. Okay. I found this pretty damn funny from old Musk on the X. Well, let's play the clip from, we'll play Bannon first. Here's Bannon. Steve Bannon, of course, Sloppy Steve, as he's affectionately called by Trump. He says, Musk, South African billionaire meddling in our politics. You're not an American. If we take enough time and prove the facts, you should be deported. Let's watch this, and then we'll get Musk's response.
Elmo the Mook, formerly known as Elon Musk, Elmo the Mook, he's today in another smear, and this only a foreigner could do this. Think about it. He's got up on Twitter right now a poll about starting an America party. A non-American starting an America party. No, brother, you're not an American. You're a South African. And if we take enough time and prove the facts of that, you should be deported because it's a crime of what you did, among many.
So he's calling Sloppy Steve's calling for the deportation of Mr. Technocracy, Elon Musk. Here's Elon Musk's reply. The fat, drunken slob called Bannon will go back to prison, and this time for a long time. He has a lifetime of crime to pay for, as they put on this fake opposition fight back and forth. And the aforementioned by Sloppy Steve here is this Musk poll on X. Independence Day is perfect time to ask if you want independence from the two-party, some would say uniparty system. It's the government. Should we create the American party? Well, the part that they're leaving out of all this fake feud nonsense diversion is they've already created the technocracy. You see? And so your government in the fake two-party system has created the technocracy already. And people in here, this guy Dawson says, I want independence from aardvark land. People talking about if you create a third party, you'll split the vote. Democrats will win, acting like any of this is legitimate, keeping hope going for this failed system that we call ourselves, that they call the government, the corrupt system. But so head of technocracy here, well, the Trump administration appears to be planning its own chatbot. It's planning to launch a new API called AI.gov on July. So look at that, rubbing it in your face, mockery. And actually it doesn't work. So it's not very efficient right now. Last time I put in the URL, it just links you over to whitehouse.gov. Let's try it again here live and see if we can't get AI.gov pulled up. I have my doubts. AI.gov. I think, yeah, see, it links you back to the White House there. And so not very efficient from the technocracy, but don't worry, they're going to get there. that article was from The Verge, but they got it from, and these guys are pretty good. I see their articles here and there, and they seem pretty good. 404 Media. Anyway, let's go take a little bit deeper look at this. 404 Media reports GitHub is leaking Trump's plans to accelerate AI across government. You don't say. You don't say. A new website and API called AI.gov is set to launch on 4th of July. Well, they haven't done that quite yet, but they'll get there. Don't you worry about it. Accelerate government innovation with AI. That's the last thing that we friggin' need in life, but they're going to give it to us. This guy right here, Musk, a big player in the whole deal, along with Peter Thiel and the rest of these transhumanist, occultist assholes who act like they're our friends. They're not our friends. They're our enemies. The federal government is working on a website, we already covered that, to accelerate government innovation with AI. The government shouldn't be innovating anything. This is out of the realm of the government's responsibilities, but they want to take over everything, you see. And they very well may. That is supposed, yeah, it hasn't launched. We already covered that. But then this part, the page was created by the GSA's Technology Transformation Services, which is being run by former Tesla engineer Thomas Sheed. Sheed previously told employees that he hopes the AIification or AIifying much of the government. AI.gov appears to be an early step toward pushing AI tools into agencies across the government. Code published on GitHub shows. You're not going to have a government. You're not going to even have to worry about corrupt politicians, because the AI is going to tell us about it. And who cares if dark occultist Satanists are the ones that program the AI? It's for America, and you better get in line, or the drones will be, and pretty soon the Terminator robots will be at your front door. And that's the way it's going to be in scientific dictatorship technocracy here now. Rolling it all out for us. They're rolling it all out here for us. They can't seem to get it working today, though. Trump kicks off celebration of America by declaring his hatred of Democrats. He said that in the speech he did yesterday, celebrating the one big beautiful bill was in Des Moines, Iowa, and promoting the corporate America's America 250. Anyway, what did he went on to say in his speech? He says they don't want to vote only because they hate Trump, but I hate them too. You know, it's a direct quote from Trump yesterday. Really, it's all bullshit. Trump's a New York liberal that has duped the conservatives very good. He's done a very good job. He's an actor. He's a New York liberal. He's an occultist. And yeah, he's duped many conservatives here. MAGA, sadly enough. And what they're militarizing in the name of rounding up the illegal aliens. Trump administration deploying 200 Marines to Florida to support ICE deportation raids. Maybe. I don't trust them. They're going to use this against us, the American people, taxpayers. U.S. expands militarized zones to 1/3 of southern border. And so they have militarized our southern border. And at one time I thought, well, that's what needs to be done. But now I don't trust this government. Here is the map of the militarized southern border. The U.S. military has annexed large stretches of border nearby military bases, empowering soldiers to arrest and detain people who enter the country illegally. You can see right here on this stretch is been militarized, and down here as well. About 170 miles along New Mexico's border. You can see right here in the yellow, the red, 63 miles between El Paso and Fort Hancock, right here in the red, and then the blue, 250 miles administered by Joint Base San Antonio, right here. Well, it needed to be done, but again, we can't trust this government to not use this against us. Here is, in his first speech after the House passed the big, beautiful bill, Trump announces he's working on mass amnesty for potentially millions of illegal aliens working in farm, hotel, and leisure industries, which radical right people won't be happy about. Let's watch this. And so, duped again, bait and switch. This is the bait and switch lying criminal administration that MAGA just can't pull their head out of their ass to see. They'll share this on, oh, we were always for amnesty for illegals. No, you people were not. But they'll literally they'll follow the leader here.
You know, you probably saw I got myself into a little trouble because I said, I don't want to take people away from the farmers. And we're going to do something I think that's going to be good because we want all the criminals out. Everybody agrees that we're finding the criminals, the murderers, the drug dealers. We're getting them the hell out of here. But the farmers, some of the farmers, many of you sitting right here, I have 4 friends right in the 5th row. But some of the farmers, you know, they've had people working for them for years. And we're going to do something. We're working with Christie. And we're going to do something that we're going to sort of put the farmers in charge. And if a farmer's been with one of these people that work so hard, they bend over all day. We don't have too many people can do that, but they work very hard and they know them very well. And some of the farmers are literally, you know, they cry when they see this happen. If a farmer's willing to vouch for these people, in some way, Christy, I think we're going to have to just say that's going to be good, right? You know, we're going to be good with it because we don't want to do it where we take all of the workers off the farms. We want the farms to do great like they're doing right now. So Christy Norm has done a fantastic job, and Tom Homan. And we're working on legislation right now. Susie, right? We're working on legislation right now where farmers, look, they know better. They work with them for years. You had cases where, not here, but just even over the years, where people have worked for on a farm for 14, 15 years, and they get thrown out pretty viciously, and we can't do it. We got to work with the farmers and people that have hotels and leisure properties too. We're going to work with them, and we're going to work very strong and smart, and we're going to put you in charge. We're going to make you responsible, and I think that that's going to make a lot of people happy. Now, serious radical right people, who I also happen to like a lot, they may not be quite as happy, but they'll understand, won't they? Do you think so? Madam Secretary, look at you with a white hat on. Do you think they'll understand that? You're the one that brought this whole situation up. Brooke Rollins brought it up.
Radical right, really? To want to enforce our immigration law and stop all this fraud? As I've talked about, working in agriculture on this show, I've seen it firsthand. They fraud the unemployment system. They steal people's identities. And I'm sure they're doing it maybe not so much they definitely are doing it in agriculture, because they work a season, which is like 6-8 weeks, get laid off because the season's over, on one Social Security number that they probably stole, file for unemployment, move on to the next season under another stolen Social Security number, continue working full-time and collecting unemployment benefits while stealing identities. And they do this 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons throughout the year. They're making big money doing this. They're not addressing any of this here now. So there you go, bait and switch. They're going to do an amnesty because they know they can't. All the promises made, promises kept. They can't logistically round up and deport 20 million illegals, probably more than that. And so they're, right now he's trying to squirm his way out of it, you see. MAGA will love it, I guess. Clown world indeed. John Deere robots supposed to be running beyond schedule. Yeah, well. Yeah, what are we going to do? When the technology takes all these menial labor jobs away, and we're very close. There's a lot of automatic picking already done. There's a lot of technology already here. I've seen the automatic grape picking machines. Those have been around 5, 6, 10 years, probably. I don't know, a while. It depends on the variety. There's a lot of variables, but the technology exists now, and it will be getting better. And so you don't need a low-skilled, no-skilled worker here in this country anymore. What are they going to do? Give them amnesty and let them come rob you. Let's check in on China on this July 4th. Here's a place to boycott. Don't buy any coffee from this place. Luckin Coffee. Luckin Coffee, China's largest coffee chain, just opened its first 2 U.S. stores in New York. Really? Boycott them right now. You want coffee from China? So Luckin Coffee, boycott them. They're China. And I see Snarky Guy's in the chat, so he's listening. We're going to have him on maybe next week. Hopefully we can get him on next week to go into Ukraine, Russia. He wanted to come on and talk about that. And so we should do that, as it looks like they ain't stopping. Russia just did a major offensive attack on Ukraine, on Kiev. And they're still trying to keep us in it. Here's Axios headline. Trump tells Zelensky he wants to help Ukraine with air defense and Trump did have a call today with Zelensky after the call yesterday with Putin, and no progress for peace or ceasefire. And then here is the last, what do they say here? Chris Monahan at Information Liberation. He says, one last B-2 flyover the White House before they're transferred to the aardvarks. Happy 4th of July. Here's your B-2 that bombed Iran. And so thankfully, there's legislation right now, which we covered yesterday, to go ahead and hand those over. Really, like something like $2 billion each to hand them over to the aardvarks so they could attack Iran whenever they want. I saw this idiocy, the fake outrage. It is fun. Trump is funny in this clip. Let's take a listen. He says, no estate tax, no going through the banks and borrowing from, in some cases, a fine banker, and in some cases, a Shylocks and bad people. And they're acting like, oh my God, he's anti-Semitic. Really? He's the king of aardvark land. You got to be kidding me.
Forget about what I said. Not going to help. But if you love them, or if you love somebody that you're leaving it to, think of that. No death tax, no estate tax, no going to the banks and borrowing from, in some cases, a fine banker, and in some cases, Shylocks and bad people. but they took away a lot of family. They destroyed a lot of families, but we did the opposite. So just remember.
And so now aardvarks are out there on the interwebs acting offended. It's just that here it is, ADL. The ADL cheered the Trump administration rounding up critics of aardvark land for deportation, but now they're trying to reclaim their watchdog status by feigning outrage over Trump's use of a word. This is purely performative. Let's see what the ADL had to say about the use of the term Shylock by Trump. The term Shylock invokes a centuries-old anti-Semitic trope about aardvarks and greed that is extremely offensive and dangerous. President Trump's use of the term is very troubling and irresponsible. It underscores how lies and conspiracies about aardvarks remain deeply entrenched in our country. Words from our leaders matter, and we expect more from the President of the United States. Well, thank you, ADL, for your fake outrage about that. And this speaks to the fact it's all fake and gay, i.e. Barry. They're all working together, all these governments. Trump says it again. Iran told them they were going to attack our base there in Qatar. Well, why the hell, if there's a real war going on, why the hell are you going to tell us?
And you saw that just the other day where the missiles are being shot down one after another. You know, they called me to tell me they have to take a shot at us. This was Iran, very respectful. That means they respect us. Because we dropped 14 bombs, they said, we'd like to take 14 shots at you. I said, go ahead, I understand. They said, where they'd do it, I said, good. We emptied out the fort. It was a beautiful military base in Qatar who treated us really fantastically well. And they said, sir, 1 o'clock, okay? I said, it was fine. We could make it later. And we had nobody but 4 gunners. We had 4, they call them gunners, and they shoot the Patriots. They shoot the missiles up. It's hard to believe.
So there you go. Isn't that Trump in a conspiracy with Iran to fake like there's a war going on? Like we're all fighting with each other? They're admitting it's all fake. If you're really fighting with you don't check in with them first. Hey, we're gonna attack. We're gonna launch 14 missiles at this time. Be ready. What? As we reported at the time, U.S. imposes more sanctions on Iran. The first round since the 12-day war ceasefire. Axios reports the United States and Iran will hold talks next week, but it hasn't been confirmed by either side. Well, thank you for confirming that for us, Axios, with no confirmation from either of the governments that are in a conspiracy together to burn up trillions of dollars in bombing each other. I still argue they're all in these secret societies behind the scenes laughing as they do blood sacrifice rituals on the populations of their said countries. Amnesty International, as reported yesterday, aardvarks are using starvation to commit genocide in Gaza, as we continue to report. There's a siege there. They've cut off food, water, air. Maybe not air yet. They would if they could. Food, water, medicine, energy, the killing fields. And so now Amnesty International, a bunch of Hamas terrorists by this report. So good job. Hamas, too, respond to U.S.-backed ceasefire plan with aardvarks in Gaza. They're still floating this idea. Out of the cradle, they're reporting, and this was just like, I want to say about 2 hours ago before we came on. Aardvark Lands Channel 14 reported the points of disagreement between Hamas and Aardvark Land, the withdrawal of the Aardvark army from key positions in the Gaza Strip, changing the mechanism for humanitarian aid, guarantees for the continuation of negotiations. Aardvark Land Channel 13, Aardvark Land is preparing to send a negotiating delegation to bridge the gap between positions. And so even if they declare this, they'll still keep killing people, as has been the trend. And then finally, West Bank town becomes big prison as Aardvark Land fences it in. Reuters reports here. Here it is. Let's go to this Reuters report from the West Bank.
How depressing is this, says Sana Alwan. She lives in the Palestinian town behind that fence, Sinjil, in the Israeli-occupied West Bank. Heavy steel gates and roadblocks seal off all but a single route in and out, guarded by soldiers in bunkers. Sinjil welcomes visitors, the sign reads. But one resident called the town a big prison, and it's not the only one.
Here is my house. Here is my house's entrance. They swept it and closed it from the first day of the war. It was a minute from here to my house. Now it takes me half an hour.
Israel's walls and checkpoints have long been part of life for the 3 million Palestinian residents of the West Bank. But many say they've increased dramatically since the war in Gaza and put towns and villages under permanent siege. Alwan is a personal trainer, and her drive to the gym in Ramallah used to be short. Now, with no way of knowing how long she'll be stuck at checkpoints, work has slowed because she can't promise to keep client appointments.
It used to take me 20 minutes to arrive to work. Now, if there are no checkpoints, it takes an hour. If there are checkpoints, between 2 to 3 hours to arrive, depending on the situation or which checkpoint is open and when.
The Israeli military said in a statement it erected the Sinjil barrier to protect the nearby Ramallah-Nablus highway, in light of what it called recurring terror incidents and to prevent stone throwing at a main route. It deemed residents' entry and exit through the single remaining entrance free access to the town. It's not just Sinjil. Further south near Hebron, taxi driver Samer Wazwaz says trips take 4 times as long. Drivers update each other on road closures by WhatsApp. Israel says its fences and barriers are to protect some 700,000 Jewish settlers in the West Bank, which it captured in a 1967 war. Most countries consider that to violate the Geneva Conventions, which ban settling civilians on occupied land. After the Hamas attack of October 2023, Israeli military earthworks blocked roads overnight. Heavy metal gates were installed and locked by the military at entrances to Palestinian communities, often leading to roads used by settlers. The military established even more permanent checkpoints, and so-called flying or temporary checkpoints appeared more frequently. This is the entrance to Jenin refugee camp, where tens of thousands of West Bank residents were displaced by an Israeli crackdown on militants earlier this year. This will not affect us. Nothing will stop us, says resident Mohammed Khawashin. Not gates, nothing, as long as we have faith in God and in our homeland. Israel says its settlements are lawful and justified by historic and biblical Jewish ties to the land. After decades during which Israel paid lip service to the prospect of an independent Palestinian state, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's far-right government now includes prominent settler activists, and they openly proclaim their aim to annex the entire West Bank.
There you go, Ben Gavir and Smotrich. So it's a big giant prison there. And we support it here. Our government does in America 100%. On this 4th of July, that's all I got for you guys. Kept it kind of short. We went to hour 20 minutes. Let me check the channels quickly, see if we got any chats going on there. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Rumble. And Snarky Guy, I'll hit you up next week, right? Yeah, next week. We're on a Friday. I'm all messed up because of this holiday. Next week, and we'll try to get you on and go over the Ukraine, Russia, and other topics with a snarky guy here. Over to the Odysee. Shout out, John. Happy Independence Day to you too, John. Thank you for tuning in. City of London. Yeah. Say the tyranny of aardvark land is coming to America. Yep. Better believe it. Huffman over there. Five Eyes are all one. Yes. The Anglo-American establishment. Indeed. Quite a good chat going on there. Let's see. East India Company flag. Oh, shit. Yeah. The East India Company flag. Right? Yeah, they remember that Michael Hastings engine blew up and went 300 feet. Yeah. And he was driving like a brand new Mercedes. And that was what, 5, 7, 8 years ago? It was a while back. So imagine now for you, but hell, you get a tax deduction on the interest for American-made brand new car. Who cares if it has a Palantir dialed in there? You know what I mean? They're spiking the flour with drugs as well. I did see those reports, Huffman. I saw some of those reports that are spiking the flour with like some kind of pills, opioid pills or something, right? It's also spiked with human blood. I saw an image of a guy carrying a sack of flour with blood on it, and it's like, damn, man. It's barbaric. It's horrific. They're the only democracy in West Asia there, don't you know? That's what they continually tell us. It is horrific war crimes. They're fully backed by America that aardvarks are committing. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Odysee. Appreciate the chat going on there from you guys. What does John say? I am north of Texas, and we get sprayed almost daily. The rain we have had this year is incredible. Yeah. It may very well be geoengineering cooking up the weather there, and that causes flash flooding. That has caused this tragic event of summer camp kids being lost in the flood. And how many did we report? 13 dead already confirmed, and who knows? The kids are probably gone too. Who knows? Quite horrific. Extreme weather event though, and so we should probably, if we paid more carbon taxes, these events wouldn't happen, even though they would, because they are geoengineering. So, but we blame it on human CO2 emissions. So that's all good there. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Odysee. Where are we at on the Bitchute? Let's go to the Bitchute. Is there anybody on the Bitchute on this July 4th? Yeah, a few people. Shout out to the Bitchute audience. Thank you guys for tuning in. Keep an eye on AI.gov and see what they have to offer us. Innovation in government. That's the last thing we need. Accelerated innovation in government. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Bitchute, the YouTube, the X, the Kick, Facebook, and Twitch. And remember, Zuckerberg's a tech bro. He put on that stupid eagle outfit, abusing eagles, but all's forgiven because he put on a stupid eagle outfit for 4th of July. And with that, everybody do your own research. Peace, love, and freedom. Speak out and take action. Take care of your pets and veterans tonight. And have a great 4th of July celebration. And that's all I got. So we'll see you back here on Monday for more Weaponized News. Again, thank you for tuning in to this special holiday edition. And look forward to having Snarky Guy on next week, amongst others, and Ruckus, of course, as well as we continue to bring you the Weaponized News.